Alright, hello friends. So, originally I did not plan to make an English version of a video that I just recorded and published in the Russian language because it was, as I believed, irrelevant to, let's say, the Western world, to the English-speaking world. But then as I rewatched that video, I realized no, it was very relevant. And let's start from the beginning. So a very serious, very deadly fire happened in Russia. A lot of people died. An entire shopping mall burned down to the ground. A lot of children died. Again, terrible tragedy. And in that Russian video, I went point by point and say why that happened, why this problem exists in Russia, which it does. It's a very serious problem. It's not the first mass casualty fire that happened there. And again, I told people that, listen, this problem exists. Here are the main reasons why it exists, why it won't be fixed, why it's important to have it fixed, but it won't, and why everyone who is listening to me must be now extra careful. And again, very relevant video to not just the Russian, but Eastern European audience. The entire Eastern Europe has this problem. But because fire departments work so well in the Western world, I thought, well, why do particularly I need to make this video in English? Apparently I do, at least I believe so. You be the judge, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go point by point. I'll translate to the best of my ability, so essentially you'll be hearing in English exactly what I said to my Russian audience, but this time I will be saying it to you, and you will see that these points, these trends, these very deadly trends are now developing in, again, the Western world, probably in your country. So let's get after it. Actually, no, before we get to those points, before we get to the main aspects of this video, I wish to say this. Now, to the information that we know to date, that fire was not an act of terrorism. So this is just something that I thought of, and I thought I need to warn people through these videos that I make that I picked up on something. And I mentioned terrorism. I believe that terrorists will also pick up on this. If I picked it up, if I had that idea, evildoers, terrorists will realize that they can do that. Essentially, what they will realize that it's easier to light big buildings on fire than to blow themselves up, ram people with trucks, or use guns or knives or whatever. Much easier to use fire to kill people. And especially it's very easy to light big buildings that are full of plastic, full of combustible material. Essentially, a lot of buildings in the West are built from combustible materials. I thought, wait a minute, this will be a big problem. If I realized it, then again, terrorists will or may have already realized that as well. I hope I'm wrong, but I need to warn everybody. Because if they know what to do, such as very simple, block the exits, and by the way, I'm saying this, it's already common knowledge, so this is not I'm not releasing some sort of secretive information. They can block the exits in a large shopping mall, tamper with the fire safety system, with the sprinkler and alarm systems, and then light some sort of an area that is full of plastic, such as children's playground, which was where the fire originated, in that not supermarket, but this large mall in Russia. It originated where essentially it was a children's playground full of these plastic cubes and all that stuff that's very easily combustible. If terrorists were watching Russian TV, they already got it. That information will spread worldwide very quickly. So that is why it's up to you to be extra safe right now. I believe this is the new trend that will be happening. Law enforcement officials, if you're watching it, look at that issue very carefully. This may be the next wave that is extremely, extremely dangerous, and you as parents don't leave your kids in any way in these large supermarket areas at any point for a prolonged period of time. Even if you give them to daycare, just understand what is the fire situation in that building, where the fire extinguishers are, where the exits. If you're in a tall building, how will you get down from that 20th, 10th, or even 5th floor? So you have to really understand that right now and basically work your exit strategy from a building or out of a building that is on fire, fumes everywhere, smoke is everywhere. What do? Where's your kid? Where's your wife? Where are your friends? How are you going to get out? So work out that system, because this may be a very big problem for the entire world, as it's so easy to do, as I just seen by all the news reporting in Russia. They were simply reporting how that fire got started, but I was thinking, well, wait a minute, you can reverse engineer this. Essentially, this was a horrific, perfect example how you should, as a terrorist, light a large building on fire. And that's possible. Large fires have happened in Europe, in the United States, took a lot of lives. So people who wish to cause harm will be looking into this, and I wish to warn everybody as soon as this idea hit me. So that's that. But that's only beginning of our problems. Now to the main points. And again, these points, I'm talking about Russia, you relate them to wherever you live, to your country. Because these trends are again developing, as I believe, in the Western world. Here we go. Number one, infrastructure is getting old. It is disintegrating, and nobody is repairing it. The very liberal, spending-wise, people-kind policies of many Western world governments have made the debt skyrocket. Not a lot of money. It's not being allocated to even maintain infrastructure. So this is a big problem. Number two, serious problems with political and social irresponsibility. Essentially, large portion of the public and politicians are very, very irresponsible. And this is happening in Russia. This is happening in the West. I am definitely seeing it, at least here in Canada. Number three. Was that previous point number two? Did I mention it was number two? Anyway, that was irresponsibility, point number two. Point number three is corruption. Huge problem in Russia, as everyone knows, but I'm noticing issues with serious corruption here in Canada. I'm hearing constantly about corruption in the United States, in Europe, in many developed countries. So, what does that mean? Corruption equals death. Eventually, corruption leads to very serious and deadly problems. You figure it out. Number four, poverty. Poverty is spreading. People are becoming poor, and what do they do when they become poor? They cut their budgets. And not just saying an individual person. It can be an owner of a supermarket or a mall or any type of a building. Everyone's not, aside from the uber rich, a lot of people, a lot of business owners are getting poor and they're cutting their budgets, and those cuts include safety. So often, even the fire departments and police departments all cutting their budgets. That impacts safety. So that is a serious problem. As you can see, it leads to, again, casualties. And number five, population density is increasing. People are not only coming to the developed countries from other parts of the world, but also within the developed countries, they are moving from rural to urban, from villages to cities. As population density increases, people are jam-packed together. What happens? It's like a powder keg full of, it's like a gunpowder waiting to explode. It's a serious issue. And all of these serious, systemic, nationwide problems are not being solved. Are you aware of your politicians that are actually tackling seriously, for example, population density? Are they working to decentralize large cities, which I believe, if not necessary now to do, very soon it may be necessary to start decentralizing them, at least for the safety of the city itself. Cities are a huge problem. Infrastructure is old, population density is high. Bad combination. But many people, who of course don't listen to my channel, many people choose to believe that they are living in a safe world with the rose-colored glasses, where folks like me are creating false fears. We're spreading fears and making out the situation worse than it really is. Well, it's up to them to make that choice. But in the reality, of course, they are living in quite a dangerous world that's getting more dangerous, and I'm trying to tell to all of them, wake the hell up. I'm sure all of you who are watching, you're legit. You're ready. And I'm not living in fear. I'm a very happy, let's just say, very happy person. I'm walking around with a smile on my face. I'm ready. Any type of social unrest will bring a light smile to my face, as I am ready for all of it. I've been warning people, let's get it on, let's fix something. Social unrest for me equals possibility to finally fix some things. So I'm not in any way fearful of anything that may happen. I'm actually very optimistic, as change is always necessary to develop something better and new, and it looks like the developed world is long overdue for a good shakeup. So I'm waiting for that shakeup. I actually trying to do my best to warn through exactly this video. Maybe we shouldn't do the shakeup. Maybe we should fix, we can fix everything that needs to be fixed and not have the shakeup. But I'm ready for the shakeup, or shakedown, however you should call it. I'm ready. That's also an acceptable, very unfortunate, but acceptable option for me. So that's my attitude. I don't want to scare anybody. If I do, hopefully my optimism, along with a little bit of pessimism, my optimism, my joyful personality will give you strength and faith in the future. But moving on. So, with all of this said, I wish to say that I'm not going to go into the exact survival techniques in this video, what you should do in the fire, what you should do in this situation or that situation. And I haven't done any fire videos, but I made a lot of videos on survival. Be sure to watch them. In fact, right now I'm going to repeat some main points and then provide the links in the description of this video so you can go and rewatch my other survival videos. But what I wish to say to all of you is that before you start any specific survival techniques, you must develop your overall survival strategy. Develop your overall survival strategy. That is very important. This is how you will live your life. This determines the course and the direction where you will take your life and how you will live it. That is tremendously important before you take any concrete action, which is awesome, good, and I highly recommend. You must know specific techniques of what to do in each specific survival situation. So, what does this core survival strategy entail? At the core of this core survival strategy, there should be these following two notions, these two following aspects. First and foremost, you must understand this. And I made a whole video on this subject alone. And that video was titled in the following way: stay the hell away to survive. From who you should stay away? Large groups, large crowds. I believe I just titled stay away. It was nicer in the title. But stay the hell away from large groups, large crowds, and a big building. What is it? It's a concentration of a lot of people in a very small area. Stay away from nightclubs if you don't have to. Of course, you should live your life, but be aware of it. Large groups, large crowds is where large casualties will be. So that is your overall strategy, how you live. You try your best to stay away from these high concentrations of people. So that's point number one, survival strategy kind of number one. And the second point is just as important, and that is don't trust your safety and security to anyone, including the government. This includes the police, the firemen, the military. They are all wonderful and awesome and necessary. I'm not criticizing them. It's not an insult towards them in any way. I'm just saying don't trust and don't rely on them. Should they arrive in time to save you, wonderful. But more often than not, they will not be there to save you in time. So the only person who you should rely on for your safety and security is you. And that is, again, a major direction where you should take your life. It is absolutely necessary. So stay the hell away and don't trust anyone. Good points to finish this video. So that's everything that I wanted to say to all of you. Stay safe, stay strong, stay optimistic, don't give up. We will win. Cheers.